Florida could be the canary in the coal mine as it relates to real estate for the entire nation. We are on day 13 of the government shutdown, and it doesn't seem like it's going to stop anytime soon. So, what does that mean for real estate? I think Florida can offer a clue, and this can be essentially a ripple effect across the rest of the country. If you stick with me throughout the video, I also want to share with you some tips on what to do if you are buying or selling property today. So, let's go ahead and get into some information over here. So as you can see here from this recent article by Realtor.com, the government shutdown is hitting the housing market hard, and Florida shows what's at stake. And why is that? Well, real estate accounts for nearly 20% of the US economy, touching every community and driving millions of jobs, according to NAR's Executive Vice President and Chief Advocacy Officer Shannon McGann. Each additional day of uncertainty threatens programs that help buyers, sellers, and property owners navigate an already challenging market. So there are three things that we're looking for here with regards to Florida real estate. And the first is, of course, the National Flood Insurance Program. And there's one thing that we have to remember, especially here in the state of Florida, we still are in hurricane season, and we're going to continue in hurricane season until November 30th. So that doesn't stop anytime soon. And there could be many homes. Now, I haven't really ran the data to see how many, and I don't know if there is any. I'm pretty sure there is, but we could be seeing a good number of homes that are either about to transition into a new policy or reinstate or renew their policies. And that can happen anytime during hurricane season. Personally, I try to do that before hurricane season, but just depending on when a homeowner buys their property and when they actually reinstate their insurance policy, sometimes that can also happen within the middle of hurricane season. So that's something to look for, and that can be a factor. But during this government shutdown, of course, the NFIP is one of those things that are put on pause, as a lot of their staff members are furloughed during this time, and that can slow the process down, especially for properties on the coastline. Another reason that we see here is, of course, during this time, you're going to have a situation where the builders are pausing their construction. And you do have some buildings like KB Homes, for example, that's cutting their prices. They cut their prices down by almost $30,000, which is quite a bit there. Now, looking at some data here with regards to national home builders confidence, you can see that have been pretty erratic for the past few years, but now it seems like it's kind of dipped and it's staying steady. But because of the government shutdown, we can see that builders' confidence take another dive as this shutdown continues. But another number to see here are the number of building permits, right? So if you see the number of building permits here, that's 739,000, which is the South, and Florida takes up a lot of that right here. One last reason for Florida being kind of the canary in the coal mine is government-backed mortgages, especially FHAs. Okay, FHAs make up a considerable number of sales in the United States and have been for quite some time and have been increasing for quite some time. Let's look at this data here by the Federal Reserve. As you can see, FHA insured mortgages have increased quite significantly over the past few years. And you see now the number of FHA insured mortgages have actually increased above 2022 numbers here. So we basically got a situation where the government shutdown, I think, is going to exacerbate what has already been happening for the past few months, and that is a lot of potential buyers backing out of their contract. And we've been seeing that, and we probably have saw some news concerning that, say, back in July and August. Okay, but it's a good idea to revisit that, because I think that's going to happen more often if you have a situation where government-backed mortgages like FHAs, because of the number of staff that has been cut during this time, is reducing those mortgage transaction. And then you have the situation with the flood insurance programs, their staff being reduced, and the number of those transactions being impacted. And of course, the builders now not having as much confidence in new home starts. And revisiting the situation with contract cancellation, I think we can see that essentially exacerbated over the next few months if this continues. We see here, not too long ago, back in August 7th, Redfin released an article basically saying that 56,000 U.S. home purchase agreements were canceled in August, equaling just over 15% of homes that went under contract that month, and that's up from 14% the year earlier. So let's look at how that looked like. You see this graph right here, roughly 1 in 7 U.S. home purchases are getting canceled. And it looked like that is just increasing. And now we've kind of broke record here, just over 15%. It goes without saying the government shutdown is only going to exacerbate that situation. Just looking at some more data here, how does that look like? Well, the majority of the reason why buyers are backing out, or potential buyers are backing out, are because of home inspection or repair issues. Okay. Now, is it really because of home inspection and repair issues? Well, remember, during the pandemic times, a lot of that was waived, right? Buyers waived that. They didn't care. They just wanted to buy homes. And why? Because there were far more buyers than there were sellers, thus making it a seller's market overall. Now, of course, if you go back to the last video, you know that just because the nation is experiencing an overall either a buyer's or seller's market, when you boil it down to the local level, there's always one market area or neighborhood that's far more either a buyer's market, seller's market, or balanced market than the other. So it's important that you do your market analysis for that particular market area. But right now, what we're experiencing is a buyer's market overall, as you can see by these numbers. There's almost about 500,000 more sellers than there are buyers. Okay, according to this latest data over here. So what does that do? Well, it essentially gives buyers more option. If there's more sellers, there's more supply of housing, and in some areas more than others, obviously. And so that's going to give buyers more option. And one of the options that they sometimes choose to back out of a contract is because of home repairs or what have you. Now, in my latest newsletter, and I would encourage you to sign up for free to the Redefine Value newsletter, there I talk about the difference between home remodels and home repairs, right? Home renovations versus home repairs. And it's important to note that those two are very different. And home repairs, or maintenance, I should say, is expected, right? A new roof doesn't necessarily add value to a home. It is expected that your home should have a new roof. Now, of course, if you go from, say, asphalt shingles to Spanish tiles, for example, or barrel shingles, then of course you might have an increase in value. But if you're just going from older shingles to newer shingles, or if you're doing routine maintenance that should be done around the house, then it's not necessarily an update or remodel, right? It is a routine maintenance that should be done. So those things should always be handled. And depending on the loan that the buyer is opting for, if it's a conventional loan, sometimes there's not a whole lot on the inspection. But remember, when you're talking about things like FHA loans, VA loans, those inspections are a little bit more extensive, especially FHAs. I do a lot of them, and it requires us to be a little bit more exhaustive in our inspections. And maybe I'll do a video later on about that and go into more details. But if one of the things you want to eliminate in the potential of backing out of a contract is home inspections or repair issues, then you want to get on top of that, right? Many sellers are still operating like it's 2021, right? And again, that was around the time of the pandemic. Again, there were far more buyers than there were sellers. So there was a seller's market, and a lot of people were moving from where they were at, and they were willing to purchase a property regardless of what condition it was in. You can't sell homes like that anymore. You got to make those maintenance, you got to make those repairs, and if possible, you have to do those remodels and updates, whatever they may be. Okay, so with that being said, with there being 35% more home sellers than buyers, that's something that you as a seller have to think about before you put your property on the market. Now, as an appraiser, one of the things that I always encourage people to get if you're selling your home is a pre-listing appraisal, right? You especially if there's a certain time frame. If you want to sell your home during a certain number of days, whether it be within 30 days or within 90 days, there's always a pricing to list your property within a certain number of days, as opposed to if you're willing to wait it out any longer. And of course, you never want your home on the market for so many days, because that will only reduce the price of your property. Okay. Another thing too, if you are buying property, yes, you can do a pre-purchase appraisal. And although you may not have access into the property, a lot of these properties are listed on the MLS, and a lot of the information as well as pictures are made available. So an appraiser can, at minimum, do a desktop appraisal, if not a drive-by appraisal. So with all this being said, yes, the government shutdown can exacerbate purchase agreement backouts, but it doesn't mean that there aren't remedies to that. So I hope this was valuable to you. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button if you found value in this. And again, thank you for joining RVM. I'm Harry, and I'll see you in the next video.